Maybe we should just do that. So let's just get rid of all of these lines and just think from scratch. Hey guys, Doge here, back with another Let's Play. I thought I'd try playing this game called Mini Metro. It's a game I've played a little bit and I quite like it. It's an interesting idea for a game. Very minimalist, very simple, but quite challenging and quite fun. So let's try out the daily challenge today. It's in the Mumbai map on normal mode. And let's just take a look at the scoreboard before we start. So the first place player had about 3,500 passengers here, just to give you an idea of how far people get in this daily challenge. So basically, how this game works is you have some lines here. So I start off with 3 lines, and you have some, let me just pause the game while I describe, you have some locomotives and you have some passenger carriages. And the idea is you have to build a rail network that will get each of these, riders to their destinations before the station becomes too full. So if a station becomes too full, it'll start having a countdown timer, and if the timer reaches 0, then you lose the game. That's basically how it works. So for example, for these 3, I can connect them like this, and there we go, using this one purple line, and it'll use up one of my locomotives. Don't worry about this grayed out part since I just changed the line, so there you go. So now as you can see, the different passengers get on the train at each of the stations. So this triangle guy is going to get on, and then when the train reaches the triangle station, he's going to get off because that's his destination. So each of the passengers has a shape which represents what their destination station is, and they can get off at any station of that shape. So it's not specifically one station, it's any triangle station. So generally when I make lines in this game, I like to make them in loops whenever possible, since they have a little bit more efficiency in terms of getting people to places faster versus just linear lines, I guess. And basically what the carriages do is it allows you to extend the length of a train. So you can make this train have 2 cars and it'll carry twice as many people. And you can also put 2 locomotives on one line, or more than 2. And you can also put them going in opposite directions, which is generally what I like to do to sort of balance out the load on the line. So it looks like there's maybe a good design here for a second line. So let me just lay that out like this. So what happens if you look at this orange line, it doesn't have any triangle stations on it. So this orange train is going to come and drop off any triangles at whichever station is closest to a triangle station. So for example, it'll drop it off here, and then the purple train will carry it off to the triangle station here. Alternatively, you could also drop it off here, and the purple train will carry it, the pink train I guess, will carry it one stop over to this station here. So as the game progresses, more and more stations sort of appear, just like you saw there. So what might be a good idea here is maybe I'll route this guy through the triangle so that there is a triangle on this line, so that he doesn't have to transfer all of these triangles into the other line. So okay, at every few intervals we get a new upgrade. So usually they let you choose at some points, but some points they don't, so I just get 1 locomotive. Okay, I guess I get two things here. So I can choose either 1 more line or 2 more carriages. In this case, I think I'm going to go with the carriages just because I still have a 3rd line, and having some extra carriages is going to be useful for me late game. So I'll go with the extra carriages for now. Another strategy I like to use is to keep an extra line as an emergency line. So if any station suddenly has like a lot of traffic and it's about to become overflowing and it's about to time out, then I can use my emergency line to quickly put a train there and carry it to whatever the destinations those passengers need to get to. Okay, so let me route this like that, and maybe I can pick this circle up like this and pick this circle up like that. That might distribute the lines a little bit actually, and I'm thinking I might even make this into a loop maybe. Okay, so we do have 1 more station out here. So another thing that you'll notice over here is the number of bridges. So I do have a limit of the number of bridges I can have crossing the water. So in this case, I've already used one here, even though it doesn't, I mean, I could have gone around, so to speak, but it doesn't really let you customize the line like that. So this counts as one bridge, and then I do have one more bridge over here. And also, by the way, this is how many passengers I've transported up here at the top right. So if you remember, the high score for this map was 3,500 approximately at the time we looked at it. So now let's sort of pause, and another useful thing you can do is you can pause at any time for as long as you want and just think about how you want to lay out the map. Let's pause for a moment here and think about how we might restructure this current layout, because, oh, okay, actually it looks like one more station's spawning here, so let's get that in. Okay, there. One thing you'll notice is different shapes have sort of different frequencies of appearing. So circles are probably the most common. Triangles are a little bit more rare, and then there's only one square on the map so far. And then later on, as we progress, there'll be other special shapes too, like diamonds and hearts and stuff like that. So since this square is the most rare sort of shape on the map, we probably want to design our lines sort of centered around that as a central station. And that'll probably sort of reduce the amount of distance each other shape is from a square, because then all the shapes have to travel all the way to the square, whereas the other shapes are sort of less of a consideration since they're more common. So I'm going to get rid of this orange line here for now, and let's think about how we might, I mean, we're obviously going to need to get out here, so let me bring this out like this to begin with, and then let me maybe get a triangle on this line as well. And then, I mean, I'm sort of just winging it here, so okay, this is not going to work since I don't have any more bridges. If we can get rid of this bridge somehow, that would be good, but it doesn't, I mean, we could do this. That does get rid of the bridge, and it does also cover that station for us. So maybe this is the way to go, and then this, yeah, see, this is not ideal, but I guess that'll work. So now let's sort of just think about the distances between different shapes here. So there's these two circles are sort of one distance from a triangle, so that's okay. I mean, I don't have a train running the opposite way here, sort of counterclockwise, but I could if I needed it. So I guess this circle's 2 from a triangle, and not that far from a square, although sort of this is the furthest from a square on the pink line here, and on the orange line I suppose it's this one. So it's only 2 stations away from a square here, and it's only, I guess, 3 stations away on this line, so that's not too bad. It's not fantastic, but I guess it'll be okay for now. So let's just continue the simulation here. One thing you'll notice about these trains is they only have space for 4 shapes. So if there's more shapes than that at a station, they won't be able to pick them all up. So for example, this train's going to leave these triangles here since it can't pick them up. Okay, now here's our first special shape here, the diamond. And then here's an example of a station that's starting to time out. So there's 1 extra passenger at this station, then the station can accommodate, so now it's going to slowly start counting down, and then once this bar reaches full, then you lose the game. So let's fix this by putting another train running the opposite direction. So this train's already running clockwise, so I'm going to put another train going counterclockwise, since this line does have 2 more stations than the orange line at the moment. That'll hopefully ease the load here, since there are a lot of triangles here which just need to go 1 station over in this direction. Now, as for this diamond, I guess, like, we don't have any more bridges right now, so I guess I'm just going to leave it like that, and if any sort of build-up accumulates for the diamonds, I can always take off this station from this orange line for a moment and build a new line that just sort of takes the diamonds to the diamond station. So that's sort of going to be my strategy right now until I have more bridges, or maybe until I have a sort of a better layout for this. Hopefully at the next upgrade cycle they'll give me an option to get more bridges. Okay, so here this triangle showed up here, so I guess I can connect that here in between these 2 circles. That's a pretty good location there. Now another thing I could do is I could extend this orange line up around this way. Oh, here's the next upgrade. So I get a locomotive, 2 carriages, or a bridge. I guess I'm going to take the bridge maybe. I mean, ideally I'd like 2 bridges, but I guess I'll take the bridge. And then what I can do with the bridge is I can build a temporary line sort of just like this, since I did notice there are a lot of diamonds at this station. And that sort of connects this main central hub to this special station here with the diamond. Might be good to get a triangle on this line too, just so that the line itself has one of each shape, just for completeness there. And I did notice a new square showed up here, so that's good. That sort of balances out this line a little bit more. That's okay. So I'm just going to swallow up this circle here like that. Now this line is looking like it might be getting a little bit over capacity, so maybe I'll put an extra carriage on this train just so that it can carry those passengers. Ideally I'd like to put another locomotive on it, but I only have 1 left, so I don't want to waste that locomotive. Actually, I think I might eat my words here and put that locomotive on there just to make it not make me lose the game. Extra station here. Not sure what I'm gonna do with that. I could pick it up with the purple line here, but that's gonna be, I mean, if I do like this, for example, that's 3 circles in a row, which is not ideal. It's gonna fill up those trains really fast. It would be much better if we could have like a triangle in between or something to break it up so that the trains can have a chance to disload some of these passengers. It doesn't look like there's going to be an easy way to do that right now though, so maybe I'm just going to keep it going for now. But we do have to keep an eye on that as we go. And I'm going to take this, can I take it off the line? Maybe I can't take it off. I guess I can't take it off the line. I can always move it to another line in the future if I need to. So now that this line does have a triangle on this end, maybe I might want to take this station off this line. Although it does mean that this orange line has 2 spots to drop off diamond passengers. So maybe that's useful. So maybe I can repurpose this station here, and that sort of puts a midpoint on the orange line. So to sort of reduce the maximum distance these other stations are from this station where it can drop off diamonds to get delivered to this destination. Now I might be able to do a similar thing with the pink line. Maybe I can extend this out to here. That might be good, like that. And then maybe I'll bring this out like this, just so that the lines don't cross here. When the lines cross, the trains have to slow down to cross over that area. So, and also when there's a corner like this, and it's not sort of a smooth corner, a smooth edge, whenever there's a sharp corner, the train has to stop there before continuing, even if there's no passengers at that station. So generally a smoother sort of line design is preferable. It does have a small advantage. So I did notice that these trains on this orange line are going the same direction, so maybe I'll flip this train around like this, so after he drops off those passengers he's going to start off here and go the other way, just to improve a little bit of that efficiency over there. Okay, we did get a cross over here on the orange line, so that's kind of interesting. I guess there's a transfer hub here for the cross, but if there's a cross on the purple line, they're going to have to drop it off either here or here, and it's going to have to go quite a distance to get to the cross. So generally what I like to do with these lines is I like to have a special dedicated line just for the rare shapes, so I guess the diamond and the cross and whatever else is going to show up as we keep going here, just to sort of connect to good transfer locations from the other common shape lines, and to pick up all these special shapes and deliver them to the special shapes. So it might be good if I can bring this aqua line down to here, maybe like this, but that does take it largely out of its way, and this station is already being serviced by the orange line right now, so maybe it's not that bad. I mean, the teal line could transfer some shapes over to this circle, and then it's only 1 stop over for the orange line as well. I'm just concerned about the pink line here. Now there are a lot of triangles at this station. Oh, week 4. Let's take that locomotive and maybe we'll pick up an extra line, since we don't really need a bridge right now. It would be good to have, but it would be even better to have an emergency relief line. So for example, I can take the emergency relief line like this and just pick up a bunch of these triangles and come drop them off at the triangle station. And then I can also just cancel a line like that, so as soon as this locomotive's done delivering the passengers, it's just going to go away. So that's sort of how what I was talking about with my emergency lines. Maybe I'll move this like this too for it to be a little bit smoother. So yeah, now a large part of the gameplay is just going to be keeping an eye on the stations and integrating any of the new stations into your existing lines, like so. So we do have a circle. Oh, a new circle appeared here. We don't have any bridges, so trying to come here is going to cost us a bridge. So we could use our extra line, just sort of like that, to drop off that square. And you can also move this square down this way. These bunch of squares. So let's get rid of that. We do need another bridge, it looks like, so maybe I'll actually keep this in since this one keeps spawning squares. And I did notice this sort of, I don't know what to call this shape, wedge? Maybe like a wedge of watermelon? This wedge shape sort of appeared on the pink line here. It's not exactly in an ideal location with respect to the other lines, because if, for example, a wedge shape appears on this orange line, it's going to have to drop it off at the square station, and then the train's going to have to carry it, go over 2 stops to the 3rd stop to drop off the wedge shape. And it's sort of a similar situation on this teal line, although it is only 2 stops instead of 3 stops. So it's not ideal. I might even extend this down to this wedge shape. It might be a good idea, depending on how many wedge passengers sort of appear. Okay, there's one over here, so this is sort of showing my point very well. We could extend this down here. So actually, maybe I'll do that. There aren't that many wedge shapes, it looks like. Okay, so this line's starting to pick up some triangles. Maybe we can get a triangle instead of a square. Let's actually make this the relief line from here, directly, not to there, directly to this triangle, just to drop off all those triangles. There, and then let's get rid of, okay, week 5. Locomotive, I can take a line or 2 more carriages. There is this station over here that I haven't integrated into my network just purely because I don't have bridges, so maybe I should pick up a line for now. I guess I'll pick up a line. And if you do notice down here, there are a maximum number of lines, so you can't just keep adding more and more lines. Right now I've got 4, I can build a 5th one, and I can have up to 6 in this map. So now a triangle spawned here, I could put it over there. Although I could put it on the pink line, because if you notice, there's 3 circles in a row here, which we sort of talked about before. So if I put this connection in the middle here to this triangle, it does break it up a little bit and put a triangle on the line, whereas over here it's only 2 circles in a row, so that's not too bad. So maybe I'll do that and get rid of this as well for now. So see, this is what I was talking about with this wedge shape. All of these wedge shapes from the orange line are getting dropped off at this one station, and then the poor pink line has to pick up all those wedge shapes, carry them all the way here and drop them off. And as a result, the pink train, when it comes here, it gets full of wedge shapes, so it has no more space. Then it comes here and it has no space, so it can't pick up any of these passengers. And then I guess a similar situation here, and then it comes and drops off the wedge shape. So that's sort of the bad side of having a transfer station like that, with the sort of the special destination further on down the line. And that's sort of the reason why I wanted to put it on the teal line instead of the pink line here, so that it was a little bit sort of more direct of a route. Now, what can we do about these two? I mean, I guess we could connect them like this now that this is sort of over here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So as you can see here now, these stations are really becoming a little overwhelmed. So I'm going to put an extra carriage on this train to sort of deal with this problem that we were talking about of this becoming too full here. These trains already look like it looks like this station was just the furthest from where those trains were, and they're all just arriving there now, so that should solve itself. This station does look like it's having a bit of a passenger problem as well, though. It's got a bunch of squares and a bunch of crosses. So I guess the crosses are being dropped off to get to here, and there is a double car train heading this way to sort of deal with that problem, and then the squares, I guess the fastest route is through the teal line this way, and the triangles, I guess whatever. So this sort of should solve itself in a moment here. There we go. And I did notice we did just get a star here, so that's sort of making this the pink line into quite a bit of a specialty line. Now we're going to have stars and wedges being dropped off at these stations here for this station, I guess, for the pink line to pick up. So maybe there's room for this teal line to pick up both of these sorts of stations, and for this pink line to not have to deal with them. Although this does introduce sort of a crossover. Now we could get rid of this and drag this guy out here a little bit further. That might be better. I mean, maybe we can do this so that the pink line is probably going to slow down to stop there anyway, so it minimizes a bit of the damage that way. You can see there how the teal train slows down to pass through that point. Oh, this station seems to be a little bit overcrowded, but all the trains are just arriving there now, so that looks to be okay. This train seems to be full, so I'm going to put an extra train on that line. I do believe the pink line is our longest line right now. And we do have a new circle here, so maybe I'll just pick this up on the orange line like so. It's starting to get a little busy, so just a reminder that the top score on this map is around 3,500, and we're just past 500 here, so there's a ways to go on this map. Okay, we do have a new circle out here, so these sort of more remote stations are always not a fun thing to deal with. So week 6, pick up that locomotive, and we can pick up a bridge or 2 more carriages. Although we do have 2 carriages and 0 bridges, so I guess I'm going to go with the bridge this time, since it's good to have more of each of the things. Let's see what's here. So we do have some wedges, some triangles, and 1 star. So the star is going to have to go to here, and the wedges as well over here. So basically these passengers are going to have to get dropped off at the square station for the teal line to pick up and carry this way. As for the triangles, I mean, triangles are only 2 stops this way, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 stops this way, so even the triangles are going to have to go this way. So it looks like what's happening is this train that's coming sort of clockwise is getting filled up with all of the special shapes along the way, and by the time it gets here, there's probably not enough space to pick up a lot of the passengers. So although this guy did just pick up a bunch of them, so okay, I guess they could drop them off at this station as well. That also works, so that's okay. We do have a little bit of crowding here. Let's drop those triangles off at this station here. I might even just put another train on this teal line to sort of increase the frequency of trains on that line there. I guess the most common trains here are, the most common passengers are the diamonds, so I could drop the diamonds off like that. And we do have an abundance of squares here. I guess it's a similar sort of scenario here where this counterclockwise orange train is becoming more and more full as it comes along here, and then it's not able to pick up as many passengers at these last few stops before this transfer hub. So maybe I'll put another passenger carriage on this train here so that it can pick up some of those other passengers. Okay, a new circle here. Maybe we'll pick that up like this. We do have 3 circles in a row there on the orange line now. That's not ideal. This is train C. This is what I was talking about. So this train is now completely full. He can't pick up any of these shapes at this station, I guess. And they're mostly squares, which are only 2 stops away this way and sort of a really long distance away the other way. So it only really makes sense for it to be picked up in the counterclockwise direction. So this is sort of exactly the issue I was referring to earlier. So maybe I can build a quick relief line to get these squares down to here, just to lighten the load on those stations there. And a similar situation here with the squares. Now I don't think you can put the same station twice on the same line, because that also might be a good idea for this orange line to sort of dip back into the square here to have another square in its midpoint. I don't think, it doesn't look like it lets you do that, so I'm not going to be able to do that. So it's going to be relying on this teal line to sort of carry over those squares, which is not ideal, because the teal line really should be focused on picking up these special shapes. So you can see the stars and the crosses are, I guess the cross is supposed to go here, but the stars didn't get picked up. Instead it picked up the squares to drop off here and sort of left the stars, which is really the purpose of this teal line. So that's not ideal. So if we can pick up those extra shapes with ordinary lines, that would be better. So let's sort of take a moment here and think about how we might restructure these now that another shape as well showed up over here. Maybe we could wait until the next week to sort of get the extra bonus from the new week. Okay, it's the next week. Pick up that locomotive, and okay, it's going to be either a line or a carriages. I mean, we do have 2 lines, so maybe I'll go with the 2 carriages for now. Pick up the carriages for now. And let's drop off these triangles from the station as well. Okay, so another special shape here. So let's just pause here and think about what might be a good way to restructure this. Now, sometimes what I like to do is just get rid of all the lines and start from scratch. You know, sometimes it helps you to see the patterns that you just weren't seeing before because your eyes were stuck on the pattern you were seeing as you were building it. One thing that we could do is we could build an entire loop just on this side of the the bay here, but there are no squares on this side, so that would be a bit of a problem because then we're going to have some line ferry the squares across the river this way. Now that could be the job of this teal line, but it would be great if we did have at least one square on this side as well. It would significantly reduce the bridges. That's sort of the reason why I was thinking like that. So you know what, maybe we should just do that. So let's just get rid of all of these lines and just think from scratch. So if I was going to build a new line, oh, okay, actually this side only has 1 triangle as well. So I mean, one thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to connect all of these shapes somehow, sort of like this, and all of these shapes as well, sort of like that. I'm just sort of trying to sort of shape out how the lines might work here. Now we could also just double back this way. This could head back out this way, connect to this square here. This can come out this way and maybe go like this, I don't know. And this can fill in like that. It's a bit of a short line though. Maybe we can loop in this triangle and this circle as well, and have another line sort of just like this. I don't know, I'm just making it up. I guess we can adjust it afterwards. So let's see how that turned out. Maybe we can connect it here too, so we have an interchange point, and connect this here too for the same reason. Well, let's evaluate each of the lines, I guess, one by one. So let's look at the orange line. We do not have a square on the orange line. Not ideal. We do have a decent amount of triangles and circles though, sort of relatively spread out. There are 3 circles in a row here, but this one is an interchange point, so that's not too bad. But it would be good to have a square, so maybe we can drag this line down this way and loop into the square here. That might be a good idea. Alternatively, we could build a sort of a line that cuts in the middle like this and sort of connects the square to the orange line. That might also give us the added benefit of putting a midpoint on the orange line so that squares can be dropped off at 2 points instead of 1 point. So the orange line looks okay, just missing some squares. Then the purple, or sort of the pink line has 1 square, and it does have 3 circles in a row here and only 1 triangle, so this is sort of low on triangles. And it does have 2 transfer points sort of on either side of the triangle. That might be a little problematic, although there aren't really triangles very close by. I mean, there's this one here, but that's not going to help too much. So maybe that'll be okay. And then the teal line, which is I guess what I'm more concerned about, it does have 2 squares here, and it does have some triangles. I guess maybe it's not too bad. The triangles are sort of concentrated up here though, so these shapes down here are not close to triangles. We could route it through here to sort of get this triangle. Might be a good idea. Now we have to deal with this sort of the situation of the orange line not having squares. And also let's take a look at the special shapes. So the special shapes, there's 2 down here on the teal line. So it's sort of going to have to get transferred. If there's either of those shapes on the orange line, it's going to have to get transferred at this station and then moved over by the pink line and then transferred at this station, and then moved over by the teal line. So 2 transfers, that's not great. Similarly, there's this cross down here, and there's a diamond over here sort of on the opposite side of the orange line, which is not great either. So all of those sort of diamonds are going to have to get dropped off at either of these 2 points. Not a whole lot we can do about that. We don't have another bridge, so we can't even build a relief line sort of across the water. We could build a relief line sort of just on the mainland here. Or I guess this is a peninsula, this is the mainland, looking at the map here. So we could go across like this. Maybe we'll go here just to get around this bridge problem and connect to here and then to here, sort of as like I was describing before, to put a midpoint on the orange line. It's not exactly a midpoint. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stations on this side and only 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. I mean, it's closer than I thought it would be, but it's very unbalanced distance-wise, I suppose, is one way to put it. And of course, we are going to have to redistribute all of the locomotives on all of these lines. So starting off here, it's going to be a bit of a disaster having to deal with all of these sort of heavy, busy stations. So let's do what we can here. Build a relief line over there. I'm definitely going to want 2 trains on the pink line. So I mean the teal line, and I'll put one like that. And I also do want 2 on the orange line, I suppose. So I'll put one here, and I guess I'll put an extra passenger carriage on each of those. And maybe I should just put 1 more train on the pink line. Why not? Put one like that. Put an extra carriage on that, and an extra carriage on this one too. So now I actually have enough for 1 extra train with a carriage. Now I am getting a little worried about these stations through here. Although this train's probably going to come pick up the passengers over there. This train, what's the deal here? So I guess there's a lot of, there's 2 squares and 2 wedges. So maybe I'll head out this way like this and pick up those extra passengers there. This teal train here is just saving the day. Oh, we do have a circle here, which is not bad. I mean, this sort of stretch here didn't have too many circles, so that'll be okay, I guess. Although maybe it makes sense to put this triangle like that instead of over here. Like maybe I can do this and put this here. Because now we do have 2 triangles on this line, and that's, or I guess we have 3. So this sort of spaces them out a little bit more. Maybe that's a good idea, I don't know, we'll see. And it also does break up this sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4 circles in a row, so now it's only 3. So might be useful that way as well. This station's a little bit busy, but I guess this train's arriving just in time, both of them are. So now we have a triangle up here. Maybe I'll do it like that and sort of have it like that. That seems okay. And that does add a little bit more sort of balance for this midpoint here with the lavender line, I guess. This one does have a lot of wedges, so maybe I'll build a relief line like that. I guess I'll stop for today when we reach the next weekend. So I guess I don't know which week that would be. But that seems like a good spot to stop. Now we do have a new circle here, which is not ideal. I mean, we could pick it up like this. Yeah, I guess it'll have to do. Do have a lot of squares here, so maybe we'll pick up those squares like so. And then also from here. Okay, I guess those guys already got picked up. Okay, I got picked up by my own relief train. Yeah, this station is becoming quite a transfer hub. A lot of squares at this station here. So let me just pick them all up on this one train. This one's kind of busy too. See, this is the problem I was talking about. There's no squares on this side, so all of these sort of squares are waiting to transfer over to this station, and all of these sort of special shapes that get picked up along the way fill up the train, and there's no space left for anything to get on at these stations here, and these ones sort of just run out of space. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know what I can do about that, because I don't have a bridge, so I can't really build a relief line. What I could do is transfer them to a different station, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I could also just sort of fix it, make these stations have less stuff in them, just to sort of lighten the load on the trains as they come this way. And I could also just put a new train on this line. Maybe that's the way to go, actually. Yeah, so let me just put a train on this line. I guess it's going to pick up all the squares and drop them off here. New triangle here. It's going to be 3 triangles either way. I guess I'll pick it up on the teal line since this orange line seems to be a little overloaded. Teal line hasn't been giving me any problems recently. So once this guy drops the squares off at this station, I do want that train to be off the orange line, or else I probably won't remember that detail tomorrow, so maybe I'll just put it on this line. Oops. What did I do? It's not what I meant to do. Was this how it was? Great, now I messed up my layout here. Well, how did I have this? This wasn't connected here, this was like this, right? Yeah. I think that's how it was. So, what I meant to do was move this train to this line so that I could then get rid of the train, just like that. I guess I had to wait for it to transfer, so while I'm here I could just use this as a square relief line. Oh, there's my locomotive, and I will take the bridge, thank you very much. Let me put this guy on this line and just get rid of them, and that should be a good place to stop for today. Yeah, see, the thing with this game is there's always one more thing to do. Like now this station's getting a little full. Maybe I can drop off the triangles. Yeah, this is the problem I was talking about with this pink line. There's only 1 triangle. So the trains, I guess, are kind of full. Are there 2 trains on this line? Yeah, there are. I guess they're just sort of arriving now. So this seems like a good place to stop. I am at just a little bit over 1,000 passengers. I guess since it's a daily challenge, I can't really stop though, can I? I don't know. I mean, what happens when I stop? Oh, okay, here's a resume. Never mind, it does let me continue. Okay. So I will exit that. I guess since it is a daily challenge, I might have to play the second part today, since that's what daily means. But I guess I'll see you guys in part 2. Thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys next time.